What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me, but I just got home off of an early morning flight, right? First thing through the door, I want to see my family. I love my family. You know, I'm a family man. I'm an advocate for families, right? Second thing, I got to get that hot shower because I got to throw the threads on. The threads make me feel like $1,000,000, but the third thing through my mind and all throughout the trip is that I gotta have that Teej pack. Teej makes my life uncomplicated. It's uncomplicated skincare for men. The first way that I started specifically was their level 1 system. It's a daily face wash to get rid of the dirt and grime on your skin. 2 times per week exfoliate and scrub to get rid of the dead skin cells. An AM moisturizer with SPF 20 because you should always be protecting your skin from the sun. And a PM moisturizer to help your skin stay hydrated and healthy throughout the night. Here's the thing. My favorite part about Teej Henley is that every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. They really making the process of achieving and maintaining amazing skin for men uncomplicated. In addition to amazing skin, members of Teej Henley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off the retail price, the ability to customize your box, exclusive monthly deals, you can pause and cancel at any time, and you get free shipping. And because Teej Henley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers an amazing deal, right? Just click the first link in the description and you get 30% off your first box, plus a free gift. It's an amazing deal. You got to get started today. You're not out here trying to look like a Dusty. And if you travel as much as I do, which I'm sure most people don't, but you know me, I'm pushing my bag chasers in order to be in the top 5%, top 10%, top 1%. We got to make our lives uncomplicated, and Teej Henley is no better product. You got to look good. You got to smell good. And you can't be looking like a Dusty. Make sure you get started today. Click the link in the description. Get that Teej pack. Feel the Teej, my friends. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. Let me get this a little closer. Let's go up a little bit. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. It is no fumble on the Fridays. It's Friday, February 10th, 2023, year of our Lord. I am feeling great. I'm feeling phenomenal. I got some news and some updates for you guys. We got some great content. I want to have some conversations, and I absolutely, positively want to add some value. So what's going on, friends? Let me check into the chat. I got the work computer up because we over here doing work. I thank y'all for the emails. I'm checking the emails as y'all send them to me. Let me see what's happening in the chat, and then we're going to get popping with the show. Said, happy weekend, family. It's been a long week, haven't it? We've been cooking, but it's absolutely been a long week. Shout out to Centennial G. My dog Kojak is in the building. Big Suggs, what up, though? The Alexander says, happy Friday, bag chasers. John, I appreciate you, big dog. What up, John? I feel like I ain't heard from you in a while, John. What's the word? Treese, what up, Treese? Sincere Royalty says PND a scumbag for that. They definitely tried to pull a fast one on Jason. Oh, we gonna talk about it today. Anna, what's happening? Lil Black Duck says, hoping everyone is having a fumble-free Friday. We're not gonna lose no money. I'm gonna talk about that in a minute. Shout out to Snuggle. T-Mac is in the building. Snuggles is in the building. Love Move says, not sure what PBD and Roland did together, but PBD handed Roland his ass. I was never more embarrassed for Roland. It was a terrible showing. Oh, man. Y'all in for a phenomenal show today. Azriel, what's going on? Azriel, I love you, baby girl. Peter Investor, what's happening? Salute to Anton and the Bag Chasers. Please don't fumble the bag. Blackmail Podcast says, progress is inciting. What up, though? Kevin Hall. What's up, Kevin Hall? You said you about to go get a pedicure. Shout out to all of the men that like to manscape, take care of business, and look good for their chicks. Lester's. What up, Lester's? Chelsea with the first super chat of the day. I always love when I see the first super chat of the day. Chelsea said, did you hear about the lawsuit against Google and YouTube? I have not, but I am willing to explore it because this is the Millionaire Morning Show and we always got to get to the bag. Kaylin, what's happening? Beat Boz, what's going on? We got the Super Bowl this weekend. Chelsea, what's happening? Edward Williams, what up, though? Linwood Shane for life. Hey, I know my Detroit people. I know my Detroit people. What up, though? Shout out to the people from Linwood. R. Kissy. What's happening? Says, love the intro, Anton. My skin game is tight because of your intro. Fan from New Zealand. Shout out to my New Zealand people. What up? Aaron is in the building, live from Boston / Chicago. What's happening? A lot of moves in the NBA. Got Kevin Durant went over to the Phoenix Suns. You got Kyrie over there doing his dance over in Dallas. We got Roland Martin. We have Disney news. We have Jason Whitlock. We got Patrick Bet David. Shout out to Patrick Bet David. We got lots of news and lots of information today. So before we get started, make sure that you guys hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. I would sincerely appreciate that you guys hit a like for the YouTube algorithm and then subscribe to the channel. Also, on top of that, I'd love for you guys to be able to tap into the Patreon. I actually dropped a video in the Patreon last night / this morning. I dropped a video on the Patreon last night / this morning. And it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. It is insane. I think it's one of the more inspirational things that I've been able to witness and have a conversation about with one of the most inspirational people that I've ran into. Shout out to the ruler. You know I love you, ruler. We got to take care of our ladies when they doing some phenomenal, inspirational stuff. Speaking of inspirational ladies, I got the Crimson Cure here in Metro Detroit this weekend. So I'm going to be Don't worry. Crimson is in good hands with your boy Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I have a reputation to uphold out here. And so I got to make sure that I take care of my baby. So Crimson is in Detroit, and we're going to be cooking up all weekend long. So I got a ton of content coming out with Crimson Cure. Shout out to my baby Crimson. Have a safe flight. And you know what's so fun? Let me tell you how humble Crimson is. Crimson is like, oh, Anton, I'm only over here. It ain't going to take me but this amount of time to even be able to drive. Don't worry about it, baby. You know how Crimson talk. And she said, don't worry about it, beloved. I said, Crimson, we treat our ladies like gold over here in Detroit. We don't slack even a little bit. We treat our ladies pristine, like the queens that they are. Now, we hold women accountable and we make sure that we let them know they for the streets when they for the streets, but at the same time, for the queens, they get the royal treatment. So everybody know what we do over here in Detroit. We got to make sure we take care of our babies. So, I got Crimson. She got her driver. She got the best of accommodations. She got her suite over at I'm not telling you where she's staying, but we got the best of accommodations over here in Detroit. So shout out to Crimson. I can't wait for you to get here so we can spend some time with your baby. That is going to be absolutely awesome. In addition to that, again, make sure you tap into the Patreon because I just dropped the video. I am also uploading, and I am going to be reading super chats throughout the show. I'm re-uploading the webinar because a lot of people are saying that the link is not necessarily working for them. I think that has more to do with the software that I used in order to record it because they rolling out some new features and things, so they got some bugs. So I'm going to be uploading today. It should be up by tomorrow morning. The webinar in which I did for y'all over last weekend, where I broke down to y'all the importance of being able to create a YouTube or how it is that you can extract as much money as possible from social media. It was too many gems for too many people that's a part of the Bag Chasers not to have access to that. So I'm going to re-upload the video. I bought extra bandwidth today, and so you guys will have access to that. Anybody that is a part of the Patreon, you will have access to it. I do not sell courses. I have real conversations with people. I brought people up on the panel to be able to ask me questions. And then I add as much value as possible. So if you're not a part of the Patreon, if you're not a part of the Bag Chasers, make sure you click the link in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat to be able to tap in. Also, Alpha Juice Company. We are very, very thankful for our partners over at the Alpha Juice Company. They are taking care of me. They are making sure that I get the word out to you guys along my journey because I am at the point where I'm about to start doing 2-a-days. It is powering me throughout my day. It is incredibly healthy. Everything is 100% natural, no added sugars, none of that crap. It is the best product that I've been able to really been able to embrace since I've been on my YouTube journey from a sponsorship perspective. And so all of the discount codes is in the description. So make sure you put Anton in the discount code before you order over at the Alpha Juice Company on their website. Again, that link is in the description. And then make sure you get all of your flavors. I personally am rocking with the Blue Meanie. We also got I think it was called the Purple Rain. It's a lot of really, really good flavors that I really like. So make sure that y'all tap in with that. The Alpha Juice Company is in the description. All right, so now that we got the housekeeping out of the way. Oh, and I was able to get some of these accounts, these fake accounts on Instagram removed. That's pretending to be me so that y'all ain't being bamboozled. So if y'all run into a fake account on Instagram in which I don't mind y'all being able to take my shorts or create shorts out of this content and upload as much as you want. I'm never going to remove somebody as long as they give credit or they mention Anton Daniels inside of the description or something like that. For y'all taking the shorts, y'all can create an account that say Anton or whatever. But if you run into somebody that is petitioning you to do business as a result and they're pretending to be me, then we got to get them removed. So thank you guys for continuing to purport these accounts and let me know what's going on. I might have to go and get a blue check because I can't have people pretending to be me and not actually really taking care of business. So I got a couple things that I got a full show as usual. I got a couple things that I want to get into this morning. Make sure y'all hit a like for the YouTube algorithm. The likes is incredibly low. Make sure y'all hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. So yesterday, I did a show, and in the beginning of the show, I was highlighting to you guys how I was basically taking this journey in which I'm evolving. Every year, I take a step back. And I'm going to be reading super chats throughout the show again. Thank you guys for continuing to hold me down. Every year, during a certain time of the year, I take a step back. I recalibrate. I recalculate where my goals are. I say where I want to be at the end of the year based off of what my long-term perspective of where I want to be in my lifetime. And then I work towards that. Often at times what I do is I blow past those expectations because when you have a planned goal, and you write it down and then you build that into your calendar and you do all of these great things, make sure y'all get a coaching call. If y'all need to get in touch with me personally, email me at antondaniels413@gmail.com and I'm going to make sure I get you booked for a Zoom call or a personal call. The sooner you send me the email, the faster I can get you set up because I am booked out, but the earlier you send me the email, the quicker we can get you on the schedule. But a lot of y'all understand how I reverse engineer what it is that you're supposed to do and where you're supposed to be in order to bring you back into a space where I can get the results so we can get it measurable. This ain't one of those situations where people just give you a bunch of wild information. This is not a one size fits all. I usually break down and understand exactly who you are, where your goals are, where you come from. I need to understand you and build a relationship because we are not a monolith. It is important for me to be able to pour into you, understanding where you're supposed to be and where you came from so that I can push you forward, right? You know that when I get on you, I'm getting on you out of love and that I truly understand you and I'm not getting on you just for the sake of yelling at you, right? And so those are usually how the coaching sessions go depending on what it is that you're doing and where it is that you're trying to be. If you're looking for somebody to hold you accountable, you're looking for somebody to push you and give you information that you need, I'm your guy. If you're looking for somebody to validate you and make you feel good, I'm not your guy. Don't send me an email. The other side of the conversation, again, I was having a conversation with y'all yesterday, how I was going back to the mud, that I put away all of the Rolexes. I've been riding around in my Hyundai, inconspicuous. I ain't really worried about what nobody else is saying and doing. I'm 100% focused on my goals. I've even gotten to the point where sometimes I have to crash inside of the studio because I'm so immersed. Thank you, Tay Biz. I'm going to read all of the super chats shortly. I'm so immersed and what it is that I'm doing and how much I need to be pushing myself that I don't have time for the stuff. It's a time for balling, and then it's a time for us to be able to pull back and take care of business. This morning, I got on the phone with American Express, right? And let me just show it to you. I got on the phone with American Express. Let me flip that around so you can actually understand what it is. And I said Amex. Now, for those of you that are not familiar with this, this is what we call a Platinum American Express. This is not a stunt, and I'm going to tell you why this is not a stunt. This is not a stunt because I don't give a fuck about American Express. Let me say that one more time. I care nothing about American Express. You know why this card, you know what? It's literally metal. This is a metal card, right? You know why they give you these? You know why they give you these? You know why they make it so metal and all of this other type of stuff? You know why this is important? You know what they do for you in order to get this? You know why this is important for so many people? Because it's a status symbol. It's no different than the bust down watches. It's no different than the diamond chains. It's no different than any of the other things that you need in order to be impressive. So if somebody pulls this out and they say, oh yeah, platinum and all of that other type of stuff, right? I know, let me say it again, I know that you're easily impressed. You're easily impressed. But let me tell you what I did this morning, because this feeds into what it is that I was telling you yesterday. I called American Express and I said, you know what? I don't want to be a customer anymore. I'm not interested in being a customer anymore. They said, why, Anton? I said, because I have no need for you. I told her just like that. I said, I have no need for you. Credit means nothing to me. I have one credit card that I really, really use and love. That's my Marriott, because I stay at a lot of different hotels, and so I make sure that I have the Marriott. But more importantly, the Marriott is important to me because I only need one credit card in order to be able to get my rental cars, in order to be able to reserve my hotels. You got to have a credit card on file in order to do that, right? And so it's on a need basis. It's not based off of stunting or anything that I need in order to continue to give me some kind of status. Now, why was this important for me to get in the first place? This was important for me to get in the first place because I wanted to finesse them points. I got it. I made sure that they waived, a lot of y'all don't know this, they will waive your fee for the first year when you first sign up and you get your American Express card. By the time that it comes back for them to do the renewal, then I call them and I say, you know what? I didn't really care for it. Doesn't matter if you didn't give me any limit. I got enough money anyway. It's nothing that I need to buy that I don't already own. I want out, right? And so before they go through the renewal, when they waived my fee the first time, I got all of the points. So they send me 100 and something thousand points. We transfer it over into our Delta, right? So that we can go ahead and get that Delta One, because it's going to feed into us getting that Delta One. The Delta One is where you lay down in the seats when you're flying overseas in order to be able to get all of that, right? It's just a finesse. We want the points. We don't want to give the credit card companies any money. We want the points. We don't want to give the credit card companies any money. But the point that I'm making to you guys is that credit does not mean anything from a personal perspective. I don't care about status. I don't care about credit. Everything that we do, it has to be based off of what's convenient to us. It has to be based off of what's convenient to us. We don't need any more status symbols in the black community. We need people to show the receipts. We need people to actually be a reflection of the thing that they advocate for. And don't get me wrong, it's very nice to have nice stuff. Go and get your stuff when you earn it. Go and take care of your business. Go and get that stuff. But it's a time and a place for everything. And what I'm saying is, I am an advocate for the thing that I'm telling you. Let me see if I can sign into this, because I need to show you that I actually canceled the American Express, right? Let's see if where the app at? I don't even know if I can still sign into the app at this point. Might have to re-download the app. I might have to re-download the app. We opening it up. I'm gonna see if I can log back in. I don't know if they, because once the way I decided to cancel it. We don't need any more status symbols in the black community. We need results. Count as canceled. Cancel. Card is canceled. You see that at the bottom? Card is canceled. Platinum card is canceled. See that? So my point is, the point that I'm trying to make to you guys is, stop getting finessed by the credit card companies. I plan on doing a live stream this weekend where I break down to you guys the importance of you divesting yourself from the credit system, but how you can still leverage it in order to really, really do some great things. So I'm going to break down the whole credit game. I'm going to give y'all a game on how it is that y'all can get y'all credit score up to 800 plus. Yes, I do have an 800 plus credit score, but I do not use my personal credit for anything. I'll show that to you. Just for the people in the back. I have no problem showing my credit score. At all. Zero credit card use. Zero derogatory remarks. Payment history, 100%. I'm going to give you the game on how it is that you can get a 800 plus credit score. You don't have to tap into any of these finessers. You don't have to pay $100,000. You ain't got to pay $800, $500, $400, $600. You ain't got to do none of that, bro. You don't have to be a part of the game in order to understand how to finesse the game. All right? You don't need no credit repair service. You don't need to do any of that. I'm going to do another webinar because I got to give my people the game. I'm going to do another webinar on how it is that you guys can be able to finesse the game and be able to get everything that you need without having to subject yourself to this bullshit. You don't need American Express. You don't need all of this stuff. All you need is the game and the information. Now, what you do with the information, that's up to you. What you do with the information, that's up to you. But you do not need anything in order to be successful outside of the information and hard work and then the endurance long enough to actually be able to get to it. So without further ado, again, let me go ahead and acknowledge the super chats because I love everybody that support the platform. Aaron says, I'd love to see a money talk between you and PBD. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. After what it is that I've seen what happened to Jason Whitlock, Aaron, the thing about it is that, and we're going to go over it together. I want to jump into the Jason Whitlock conversation in a second. I have to do business with people based off of good character and not just their ability to be able to generate a lot of revenue. There's no doubt in my mind that PBD is a good person probably. But I don't care. Like, I don't care about the visibility. I don't care about how many subscribers you got. I don't care about none of that. I don't care about what it is that I can get out of it or what you get. It's not about that. I have to genuinely understand who you are from a character perspective. And from what it is I've seen play out, we're going to go over that in a minute. I'm not sure. John says, yes. Been a while, Anton, since our last coaching call. I got married and doubled my income and still tapping in. Shout out to the Bag Chasers. That's what we do over here at the Bag Chasers, John. We get successfully married. We live life blissfully. Sometimes we fall off the radar because we doing so well in our lives, and then we double our income. They don't really know what we do over there at the Bag Chasers. Shout out to my Patreon members and my people. Taybiz TV says, you're a fair man, bro. Can't wait to dive in your Patreon content, watching the show, while imaging PCs and software installs, not fumbling the bag. See, we know how to multitask. Thank you, Tay-Biz, for the 10 ball, for holding me down, my friend, and continuing to rock with me. I want to, let me see. You know, we do it a little bit differently when we get to the crib. I want to play something for y'all really quickly. Give me a second. What's going on is Anton from Anton. Let me switch the account real quick. I want to share something with you guys really quickly. Give me a second. And then we're going to get into the Patrick David conversation. Let me share my screen. Thank y'all for all of the super chats. You guys are absolutely awesome. Let me share my screen with you really quickly.
And major cutbacks are underway at Disney. Recently reinstated CEO Bob Iger says that positions will be eliminated. That's about 3% of the company's workforce. It's part of a greater effort from Disney to cut costs by $5.5 billion. For more on this, let's bring in Dade Hayes. He's a business editor at Deadline who leads business and Wall Street coverage for the publication and also writes about film, TV regulation, and advertising. Thanks so much for talking with us. We do appreciate it. Disney, it's a massive corporation. What parts of it are likely most affected by these layoffs? And will we see more of this?
Right now, it looks like it's going to be concentrated in the TV networks area. They had created a division called Media and Entertainment Distribution, a centralized distribution apparatus. They've gotten rid of that now. And they were pretty frank on the call yesterday with investors that they know that linear TV is declining. So they're trying to manage through that decline. I think they didn't signal exactly where the job cuts will come, but that is definitely going to be an area of vulnerability.
Let's think about this for a second, ladies and gentlemen, and let's parse through the information because this is the Millionaire Morning Show, and I want to make sure that we're breaking down this stuff from a C student's perspective so that you can understand it. I've been telling you for a long time, this is nothing new. The middle class is going away, all right? But I want to break down exactly what Disney is doing and how it is that I was able to predict that this was going to happen to Disney specifically. I have no doubt in my mind, I have not checked the market of what Disney stock is doing as a result of this. I'm sure that it popped. I'm sure that it did really well. This is one of the reasons, and they already projected that this was going to happen, which is one of the reasons why they got rid of their outgoing CEO and brought back Iger, right? Bob Iger. Bob Iger is the person that steered them through all the way up into the pandemic. And then they launched Disney Plus. Disney Plus is a reflection of what user interests and the cord cutting is doing to networks in general. Disney made a large investment in order to buy a lot of intellectual property and a lot of content, right? They were able to buy a lot of different things. There you go, babe. They were able to buy a lot of different things in order to make sure that they can beef up their content offering because they have to make a large investment in the streaming wars. They have to control what's going on online. They want to license out a lot of money. But also, if something is growing, then something is declining. So from a financial perspective, you have to try to figure out, well, what is it that's actually declining? Well, the very thing that we all walking away from in the first place, our TV network offerings. Our TV network offerings. Nobody actually cuts on regular TV and watches regular TV anymore. The biggest event that y'all gonna watch is the Super Bowl. And you know what they starting to do with that? They streaming it. I think you could literally stream the Super Bowl on YouTube. Well, YouTube TV specifically. But consumers have been pivoting a long time now. And really, it's too late for them to just naturally dissolve certain aspects of the business based off of attrition. Attrition meaning that people just naturally start to fall away. You just don't rehire. You just let the company or let that specific division dissolve based off of the fact that the users don't necessarily have to continue to go down that path. Because we're in a recession and because we're in an extended recession, the company itself has to make more pivotal moves, not necessarily because they can't afford it, but why? Because the shareholders, they're always going to do the thing that's in the best interest of the shareholders. Now, I got rid of my Disney stock, so I'm no longer a shareholder. But my point is that you guys need to start making longer, more informed decisions on how it is that you can pivot and make the most money as a owner and not necessarily as a person that is looking to get a job. A job is cool, but a job just gives you a bigger shovel to be able to pick up that dirt and then plant better seeds and then have a better garden so that you can then have your money work for you. Disney, just like every other company, is making the best decision that's in the best interest of their shareholders, the owners of the company. It's the people that own the company are the ones that's going to benefit the most. It's not going to be the average everyday worker. So when you see President Biden, and I broke this down the other day, when you see Biden jump on a live stream or he do his State of the Union address and he talks about all of the jobs that he's creating, he's also not going to talk about how many more jobs that's being lost while we're in an extended recession and they continues to raise rates based off of the idea that they're trying to stem inflation. The question then becomes, and I'm going to read the super chat shortly, traditional TV is going out the window. The question isn't whether or not traditional TV is going out the window, because we've all known traditional TV was going out the window for a long time. The question then becomes, how is traditional TV going out the window long-term going to impact you from a financial perspective as far as A, your investments, and then B, how it is that you're going to be affected depending on what industry you're a part of. Now we've gotten into a point to where either you're going to be a gig economy worker, which that's going to go away in a lot of instances, because it's one of the reasons why they're trying to automate driving and everything like that, because they want to remove the human element out of it, because humans and people are problematic. The more humans become more entitled, the more we become socialists, the more we lean into liberal policies, the faster that innovation will speed up in order to replace you. Let me say it one more time. The more we lean into liberal policies, the more problematic humans become, the more protesting you do, the more asking for $15 an hour, the more you complain about what it is that's going on in your job at Amazon, the more you are going to become a gig economy worker, meaning that you're not even going to be an employee with healthcare coverage, which is one of the reasons why they're pushing healthcare coverage so hard as far as the Obamacare and how many people are signing up. It's not because it's so good for us. It's because we've pushed technology to out-innovate the need for people in order to be able to survive. If you understand how money works, then you know that this whole Obamacare thing or the Affordable Care Act and why they're having so many people sign up is because so many people no longer have the ability to be able to have a job, provide healthcare coverage for them, because companies are getting rid of workers. They're not hiring workers. You are now becoming a contractor as needed. You said you wanted to start your own business? There you go. You can be a gig economy worker. You have no health care. No, remember when y'all was talking negative about jobs? You ain't, listen, it's about being a boss. Y'all was listening to Dame Dash and he was saying, make sure you start a business. Man, starting a business, for those of y'all that don't understand things from a business perspective, starting a business is just creating another job for yourself. It doesn't mean that you know how to lean into understanding things from a business perspective. Starting a business is just creating another job for yourself. It does not mean that you're starting things from a business, you understand things from a business perspective. You becoming a gig economy worker is literally you owning your own business. But how much profitable is it than you having a healthcare coverage, the 401k, the 401k match, the life insurance that the company provides? The total compensation package is much more than what it is that you earn. The bonuses, the pay equity, all of those things is calculated when we're talking about a total compensation package. Disney is not the only company that's going to be laying off. We've seen technology companies, we've seen legacy companies, we've seen automakers, we've seen a lot of things. And you know what they're going to add? You know what they're going to want more of until they out-innovate you on that aspect too? They're going to want more warehouse workers, more DoorDash delivery drivers, more Grubhub workers, more Uber drivers until they can automate that. And they trying to get rid of you truckers too. All of y'all, listen, let's go buy a truck or whatever. Man, they can't wait to be able to get the infrastructure. The only thing that's slowing these companies down is not the technology. The technology is there. They can run semis all day long down the road without any kind of problem. I'm definitely going to read the super chats. Thank you, Kingdom Minded. They can run these autonomous vehicles. Literally here in Michigan, the University of Michigan for years now has had an automation city where it's literally a replication of what it is that autonomous cars would be able to do in order for them to be able to completely get rid of the driver. They're removing all of the parts. Electrification wasn't just for sustainable energy. It wasn't for climate change. Y'all got sold that bill of goods because y'all didn't understand how money works. The electrification of vehicles was innovation in that, okay, first of all, they've had this technology for a long time. If you haven't already watched the movie, watch Who Killed the Electric Car when GM was doing his way back in the 90s. The incentive was, at the time, it didn't make sense because the oil companies and a lot of these cities and a lot of these legacy automakers were incentivizing cities in order to get rid of it because they didn't want to spend the money in order to do the research and development. The technology has been there for a long time. The reason that they didn't want to do it, and I need y'all to hear me out because I'm definitely going to give y'all a gem right here. The reason why they didn't do it had nothing to do with climate change. They don't care about climate change. The reason that they now are able to do it is because they can innovate to the point to where they don't have to use as many parts, which means that they have less workers. Think about it. You don't have to go get an oil change. You don't have to go and get spark plugs. You don't have a transmission in your car anymore. You get rid of the dealerships, you get rid of the maintenance people, you get rid of you have less workers on the assembly line. Tesla literally innovated to the point to where they're stamping out the entire car to where you don't even have to put parts together. They're going to sell it to you and say, well, you'll have less quality issues, it's better for the environment, which two things can be true at once. But what they're doing is they're removing the need for workers in order to be able to sell you a vehicle at a higher price. And then they'll say, well, America is doing the right thing in order to give you the incentives to switch over to electrification. The only thing that's keeping you on your job is the fact that the federal government haven't fixed the infrastructure enough to be able to support what the technology is doing. Hear me out. I'm a C student. I'm breaking it down to you from a C student's perspective. The federal government has not innovated from an infrastructure perspective. The roads that you have, the lights, the cameras, everything that's going on in society, the federal government has not innovated enough from an infrastructure perspective and from a regulation perspective as far as Congress, because you know your politicians are slow as fuck. They have not innovated fast enough in order to be able to support the technology. The technology is there. They can't wait to get rid of you. It's coming. It's coming. It may come a little bit slower than you think it is, but it's coming. And so what I ask y'all to do on a regular basis is do the thing that's in the best interest for you. Because you sitting there complaining about what the average man makes and what the federal government is going to do and continue to get distracted by what you think is race wars, it's a class war. You are going to be on the tail end. It's a movie called, is it The Dawn of the Dead or something like that? And it was a black guy or whatever, and like it was the haves and the have-nots. It was a zombie movie. I love apocalyptic movies and I love zombie movies. And I think it was called like The Dawn of the Dead, where basically they would send a group of people that basically was like the middle class, and they would go out and they would scavenge for booze and stuff like that. And they would have to dodge the zombies and all of this other type of stuff. And then the one guy, he got to a point where he saved up so much money to where he thought that he was going to buy himself into the upper class, and he got pissed because they wouldn't let him in because it was too late. By the time that the zombie apocalypse happened in that particular movie, what wound up happening is they had already separated who it is that they wanted to be in the haves and the have-nots. You have a finite amount of time. Your kids have a finite amount of time. Go ahead and keep having as many kids as you want to and see what happens. Go ahead and depend on the federal government in order to continue to give you these stimulus checks and see what happens. Your houses is getting smaller. The land that you have to be able to live on is smaller. The cost of eggs is smaller. The availability of normal everyday jobs when you got out of high school is smaller. Your debt is higher. Your requirement in order to be able to get higher education, in order to even live a middle-class lifestyle, is more. Your ability to even be able to take care of your kids is less because it costs more to raise a child more than ever before. Your dependency as far as being able to have a strong family structure is diminished because you need two family incomes, or the man and the woman, in order to go to work, in order for y'all to be able to make money. Your ability to be able to survive is going to go down more and more and more every single day because you are not making the right decisions now that would then separate you. Because listen, you're going to have to make a decision. This Disney thing is just a reflection of the bigger issue. You're going to have to make a decision because it's not going to be up to you. You're going to have to make a decision. And the decision is going to be, because you cannot fence ride. Even God himself in the Bible said, listen, you either going to have to be hot or cold, because the people that's in the middle, I spit lukewarm out of my mouth. God even know it ain't going to be no fence riders. For long enough, we've had the middle class, and I like the middle class. I think that the middle class is awesome. I come from a middle class family, but I also was able to recognize, listen, by the time that I get old, it ain't going to be no middle class. I don't want my daughter to be sitting on the other side of the fence, so I'm going to have to make the sacrifice now in order to build wealth so my daughter is not on the other side of that fence. What I'm telling you is that whether you like it or not, You're going to have to make a decision of whether or not you're going to be on the losing end or the winning end, because it's only going to be winners and losers. The people that are having children that are poor, you are creating another slave culture that you will not be able to work your way into success because you cannot save yourself to wealth. You cannot put enough money in the bank and then get interest on your savings account in order to be wealthy. You are going to have to change your mindset in order to be able to get into this league, in order to get into the club. The wealth gap is large. Less than 1% of the population owns 90% of the real estate. If that don't tell you what the difference is and that there is no middle class and it's going away faster and faster, I don't know what is. You make $100,000 a year and you cannot even raise a family on it. Don't tell me you can. I've done the math. I've looked at people's finances. I coach people every day. I know what's going on. You are going to have to make a decision. And if you think that you're going to raise your kids to just be a regular everyday person, it's over. It's over. It's over. Let me check into the super chats because all of the people that support the platform, I love y'all. Marcus Alexander says, I'm excited for my future one-on-one step up, one step for mankind. Shout out to Marcus Alexander. I appreciate you for rocking out with me. Compton Mania says, talk that talk, champ. You know I'm going to give him the game, but I'm giving it to him from a C-student's perspective. Thank you. Jay Hunter Lee says, left-wing agenda is killing Disney just like it's doing Adidas. Just my opinion. Yeah. I'm not a fan of Disney. I think the Disney, the company, is going to be fine. But I decided to divest myself from them because I don't necessarily like them. QBZ says, my company did a secret layoff, a not-so-secret layoff, and then posted more jobs. Finance has been automating for years and running lean. Harder to get in entry level. It's different now. It's a whole nother conversation. Aaron says, you're 1,000% correct and you haven't even described half of it. Even your surgeon will be automated. All we need is engineers now. Jay Hunter Lee says that was the land of the dead. Thank you. Land of the dead. If y'all have not already, go watch The Land of the Dead and then see it through my eyes. Because even when I'm watching zombie movies, I'm watching it from a business perspective. Jay Hunter Lee says, Elbert Hubbard once said that one machine can replace 50 ordinary people, but no machine can replace one extraordinary person. I beg to differ because that one extraordinary person is going to replace everybody with machines. Shout out to Kingdom Minded. 1121 says, sending a love offering, looking forward to the webinar this weekend. Kingdom Minded 1121, thank you for supporting the platform. I appreciate you for the 50 ball. Thank you for being a longtime supporter and a bag chaser of what it is that we got going over here on the Anton Daniels channel. I strive to add as much value to you guys as possible. And it is no small feat, and it does not go unrecognized and unappreciated for everybody that sends in Super Chat, Cash App, holds me down, hit a like for YouTube algorithm, all of that. I absolutely appreciate you guys. All right, so let's deep dive for a minute. Thank you, Kingdom Minded, and thank you for holding me down. Let's deep dive for a minute. So let's do this. Yeah, that's fine. It don't matter. Whatever it is that you do, babe. Rita's over here asking me if I want something to eat, y'all. Shout out to the feminine women. You can't say feminine. You got to face the feminine women. Shout out to the feminine. Where you going?
What's it go?
Go what?
Go get some food.
From where?
I don't know yet.
We could just order something. You ain't got to go and do no shopping and grocery shopping and then come back and cooking and all of that.
I was just going to pick some up. I'm going to give me a coffee and I'm going to get something to eat on the way.
Let me tell you something about Rita. Let me tell you how old school Rita. Rita is stuck in her ways, y'all. We got everything. Let me talk junk about Rita really quickly, y'all.
Can I just say this in my defense?
Why do you got to defend yourself?
Because there are certain things that are better when they're fresh. I don't want my coffee sitting there waiting 10 minutes for somebody to come pick it up. Then I gotta wait another 10 minutes for them to drive here. By the time they come, my cold foam is gonna be dissolved in my coffee, and that's just not good.
So let me go ahead and tell on Rita and tell y'all how stuck in her ways she is, y'all. All right. I go in the room the other day, and Rita is throwing a temper tantrum because she stubbed her toe, right? She's throwing a real temper tantrum, okay? Let me tell on her before we get into this Jason Whitlock conversation. She's throwing a temper tantrum because she stubbed her toe, right? And I say, honey, you okay? What's going on? How did that happen? I was trying to clean this up here in this part or whatever. I said, that's what your black ass get. That's what your black ass get for trying to do too much. What do you mean? I said, didn't I tell you to hire some help? Didn't I tell your black ass to put the block on the phone because you got the inmates calling? That's what Snoop told. That's what Tyrese told Taraji P. Henson about Snoop. Didn't I tell you to put a block on the phone with your black ass? I said, didn't I tell you to hire some help? I know, I'm just used to doing it myself. Okay, you go and do it. Certain things happening throughout the day. She up here talking about, let me get this down a little bit. She up here talking about, oh, I need to run to the store. Girl, we can order that. We can have that delivered right to the crib. What are you talking about? I need to run over here. What are you wasting your time doing that for? We can be more efficient doing this. Rita is stuck in her ways because she believes that it's certain things that you just gonna have to do yourself. Okay, listen, I'm not trying to take the human element out of it and experience, but don't be out here stubbing your toe and then throwing no temper tantrums and talking about, girl, you need some help. Hire the help that you need. When I be at the office, I don't be hanging that junk no more. I be online. Hang shelves, do this. Can I do it myself? Absolutely. You go ahead and bring your ladder, bring your leveler, get up there and hang them fucking paintings so I can go and do what it is that I got to do. Once you get to a certain point in your life, listen, we 40. We're 40. We're both 40. It's no reason why we should be overworking when we worked our ass off our entire life. That's the whole reason why we worked our ass off, so that we don't have to any longer be subjected to the idea of having to do it ourselves, right? So anyways, I just had to tell on her. Make sure y'all tap into the Alpha Juice Company. The discount code is in the description. Make sure you put Anton in the discount code so that you can get your percentage off when you order your Alpha Juice Company. Make sure you tap into the Patreon link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. All right, so let's get into this Jason Whitlock conversation. Let me pull this back up and get Disney off my screen. I don't even like Disney, yo. All right, so I caught wind of this the other day, and I'm like, wait a minute. What is going on out here in these streets? What is going on? Considering that I just had Jason Whitlock on my channel. Pull up the quick one really quickly. And I'm going to play it from both sides. So Jason Whitlock dropped the video, and he did like an hour and a half, almost 2-hour live stream where he was breaking down what happened with him and Patrick David. I did not even know that Jason Whitlock was supposed to jump on a panel to debate Roland Martin. I was not aware of it. Patrick David has set it up. So before I break this down and before I start talking about it, make sure I get a like up for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to the channel. Let's turn on the notifications. So I'm going to play, and I watched Patrick David's response yesterday. And so I said, oh, man, I got to go and find out what Jason Whitlock said first, and we're going to break this down. So I'm going to play what Jason Whitlock said, and then I'm going to play Patrick David's response, and then we're going to go from there. All right? Let's see if we can get this up here.
Why I know this was a setup. So, and why Patrick David had an opportunity.
So this is the name of the video that Jason Whitlock posted is called Getting Scammed by Patrick Bet David. Getting Scammed by Patrick Bet David. All right?
To be honest with me, but chose dishonesty. So I fly down Sunday night. And Sunday night, I look at the Valuetainment YouTube page. And on it, I see some reference to emergency podcast about criminal justice reform or something along those lines. And it says it's going to start at 9 a.m. or 9 a.m. or 8 a.m. Whatever time it said, it was the time that I was like, hold on, that's when my podcast with Patrick Bet David is. That's odd.
So this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna speed it up because listen. I think I got what is it? OCD or something? ACDC? Oh, that's the name of a band. ACDC is the name of a band. When you got attention deficit disorder or something like that. Where people be talking to, listen, I ADHD, I ain't got that shit. Fuck that. But I do like when people speak a little bit quicker. So I know that Jason Whitlock likes to take his time. I'm actually a fan of Jason Whitlock. Shout out to Jason Whitlock for coming on the show. We had a very, very good discussion. I'm going to speed this up to 1.25, and then we're going to see if we got to speed it up a little bit further, all right?
And then I thought, well, maybe he recorded that, and he's going to run that on his podcast, and I'll be on the Valuetainment channel. Or I just thought it was odd, but I didn't think much of it. I was like, well, that surely doesn't have anything to do with his interview of me. That was the first thing that raised my eyebrows. I wake up the next morning, and the car service driver, it's the same one that took me to the wrong hotel the night before, he sends me a text saying that, hey, something about picking me up at 9 a.m. or 8:45 a.m. And I'm like, well, the thing starts at 9 a.m. And how could he pick me up at that time? And so I'm downstairs, like the email says, pick up at 8:30 a.m. I'm down, and I text him, hey, I'm ready to go. I'm downstairs, and he said, hey, give me 1 minute. He pulls around, picks me up, and he takes me on a 15-minute drive to the studio.
So I'm seeing the finesse already, all right? I'm seeing the finesse already. So what it is that I'm gathering from this situation, and shout out to the Alpha Juice Company. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. I'm seeing the finesse. The finesse is Jason Whitlock has no idea of what it is that he's getting himself into, but he's ignoring his instincts in that it's too many red flags. It's too many red flags. First the time, then the emergency thing, then the driver and all of this other type of stuff. And it's just, okay, so this is what happens. And I've actually learned this from Dr. Phil when I went out to Dr. Phil. They book you to come in and whatever. They producers, most of the time people have an assistant or they have producers. And I'm sure that Patrick Bet David has, a lot of different people working for him that, are able to, take care of business or whatever. But you usually have it run like a fine-tooth machine, but you got a culture, right? And the culture says, hey, this is what we talk about. Some people that come into my studio, now I'm going to just give it to you on a smaller scale because I've duplicated a lot of the things that I've learned from Dr. Phil and other different people that I've done business with, right? What they do is they say, hey, I want you to come in. I'm willing to fly you in and take care of business or whatever. Some people is just like, cool, I'm down for whatever. We can kick it. We can rock out or whatever. We're going to do whatever we're going to do. Other people want to be more prepared. They say, hey, what is it that we're going to talk about? Is it a panel? Is it just a one-on-one? How long is it going to be? Right? It depends on who the person is. Lamar Odom was probably the most detailed, not detailed, but his people wanted to know everything because they didn't want to be ambushed. They didn't want to be asked no wild questions or whatever like that. And so I've always had a great experience with every single person that I've interviewed because I've always been upfront with what it is that I'm expecting, right? I've never had a problem with Charleston. Never had a problem with Brittany Renner. Never had a problem with Lamar Odom. Never had a problem with anybody that's ever come into Detroit, or I flew to them, Rajiva the Ruler. I've never had a problem with Six the Goddess. Everybody we've treated, we've been upfront, we've been transparent. We don't want to surprise them because the worst thing that you can do is put a person that you bring in into the studio or put a person that you bring in over to interview or do a panel or whatever. The worst thing you can do is surprise them because A, you ruin the relationship. B, you don't look like you're a person that's on the up and up from a business perspective because the only thing you care about is the content. And then C, you don't put them in a great space to actually be able to give you the great interview or perform because now they feel betrayed and they don't feel like they've been taking care of things. And so I've always, and that's why nobody that's ever did business with me in person can ever say that I have not taken care of them, that I have not made sure that they was had the best accommodations, that they wasn't in a great space. By the time you get over to kick it and do the interview, you like, yo, let's kick it. I'm going to give you, sometimes I'll book people for 2 hours and they want to do 4 hours. simply because they appreciate the level of professionalism and how it is that I take care of business and I deliver on my promises when I say I'm going to do it. So I always believe that taking care of business and doing things the right way is just as important as getting some kind of visibility or doing business with people just because they're famous or just because they make a lot of money. That's why I say character is just as important. Character is just as important as people doing business.
And during this drive, a producer calls him, and the producer's on speakerphone, and he says to the driver that, hey, don't bring Jason to the front. Bring him around to the back entrance. We want him to come in through there. And the guy says, okay. Or first thing he said is, Jason's in the car with me. And so I think that was letting the guy know that he could hear me.
And that's like having your girl in the car and saying, hey, yeah, as soon as you answer the phone, hey, yeah, you know my girl is with me, right? Your homeboy called you and you be like, hey, man, yeah, man, I got Rita with me. So what's going on, big dog? You giving them the signal to let them know, hey, fam, be careful about what you say because I got my girl right here and I ain't trying to get her to find out what it is that we had going on the other day or the other week with them hoes that we pulled from the strip club. Jason is no dummy. We don't give humans enough credit to actually be able to see what the heck is going on out here straight.
That I could hear him. And then the guy tells him, hey, bring him around to the back. We don't want him to come in through the front. Guy says, okay. So we come in through the back entrance. Again, at this time, I'm not thinking anything. No red lights are flashing. But after I walk out, after I decide, let me call an Uber and I'm leaving, I call an Uber, comes and picks me up at that UPS store at the strip mall. And it's hilarious. The Uber driver takes.
Is it me or is whoever clipped this up? They got it like a Chinese movie out here in these streets. It's a slight delay on the way David. Let me see if it's regular. If it's just me.
Takes me back to my hotel, and he pulls up.
Yeah. All right. So we just gonna play it regardless, and then we just gonna rock out.
And I go, hey man, this ain't my hotel. And he goes, yes it is. Oh, this ain't my hotel. My hotel's 15 minutes away. Because literally, he drove me back to my hotel in 2 minutes. And I'm like, this ain't my hotel. My hotel is 15 minutes away. This is crazy. And then I look out the window, and I go, hold on, this looks like my hotel. And it's like, this is my hotel. And I'm going, it was a 15-minute ride that I think we got on the highway to get to the studio. And the guy taking me back, I think, made 2 left turns, and I was at my hotel. I could have walked from my hotel to the studio. And so I was like, this doesn't make sense. And I go,
let me see something. Give me a second. Because I don't like him talking like a Chinese movie.
Atheist.
I pulled up a separate video. Let me see.
Capable of when I was talking to him. First time I heard of divine feminine energy. Tomorrow, feminine energy. On Friday, I think, or Thursday, recommend divine feminine energy. And how, and the documentary is brilliant. And we're going to get into the documentary in depth tomorrow. Spencer Smith, that put the documentary on, he's going to come to Nashville from 4 or 5 years ago when I sat down with Roland. I was like, yeah.
You know what slaves do? So that's
Fearless is about 120 tweets a day. One mouth, 2 eyes, and 2 ears, because he intended for us to do more listening and observing.
Okay. All right. So let me go back to the original video and then we're going to go from there.
Oh, these guys were killing time. They called and asked this driver in front of the offices. And I go, that must be Roland Martin. And then so I start hunting down. I go to social media. I go, I wonder what state Roland Martin is in. Because at that time, I'm thinking, when I was over at the studio, I was like, I wonder if they're having Roland Martin over Skype or whatever. And then I discovered through social media, like, well, Roland Martin's down in Florida too. And so they had Roland Martin at the studio and had the driver give me the runaround because they didn't want me to run into Roland Martin at the studio. And so it just like all the lights all start coming on like, oh, this was a setup from word go. And they were going to all these machinations to keep me and Roland Martin separate from each other. And that's again why I don't know if Roland Martin was in on this at all. I probably right now think he wasn't in on it. That this was something Patrick Bet-David and his crew decided they were going to pull off. And Patrick Bet-David told me during his conversation that Roland had no idea I was there. I didn't know whether to believe him or not because, Roland trolls me 2 or 3 times a week over Twitter. Again, I've had the guy muted. I don't see it, but sometimes when people respond back, I get copied and seeking Roland's handle in it, and I can tell that, oh, Roland must be tweeting about me again. I mean, Roland is dying for engagement with me. I don't have any interest in engaging with Roland. And so then when I get a ride back to Miami International Airport, 30 minutes away, I'm done with Valuetainment and the ride that they set up with me. So I call my own Uber. This is around 1 o'clock Eastern time. And sure enough, the Uber driver shows up immediately within 60 seconds. And it's the same driver that had been taking me around for Valuetainment. And I'm like, why are you still here? What is going on? I can't believe it's you. And so we get in his car. I get in his car. I'm going to let the guy drive me to the airport or whatever. And I go, hey, man, are you involved in this scam that Valuetainment has been playing on me? Is that why you took me on a 15-minute ride to their studio? And the guy admits that, yeah, they told me around and just take your time and kill some time. Don't get him here until a certain time. They told him to do that. And I go, do you know why?
Oh, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Listen. I see y'all in the chat. Listen, this is what we got to do. This is why it's important for us as a culture to start being a lot more careful with what it is that we align ourselves with, right? You can support somebody's politics, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're on top of things from a business perspective and they doing things. Y'all said Jason Whitlock dropped a response 30 minutes ago. I'm going to check that out too. I got time today. You can support somebody from a politics perspective. That does not mean that they do business the same way. Just because we agree from a political perspective does not mean that you don't have intentions on trying to put together a good show in which you told the driver to kill some time because you don't want us to run into each other, and it's a strategic way in which you're going about doing business. Come on, man. We're going to get into PBD's emails. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into that. This was a finesse. I don't care how y'all spin it. I don't care how much money Patrick Bet-David has. I'm not on anybody's team. I don't move my strings according to whoever it is that's doing good business or who's richer or who we like. Listen, good business is good business all the way across the board. And if you can't see that they tried to finesse him because they know that him and Roland Martin don't get along, they knew they was trying to put them together on live in order to create great content. That's why they told the driver to finesse and do things a certain type of way. Come on, man. Come on, bro. All right, any person, you don't know when you're getting finessed. You don't know when you're getting finessed. You don't know when they trying to create drama so that you can then perform at their whim. You don't know when you're getting used and finesse. Come on, man. Come on, man. And I seen Patrick David's emails, and I'm going to break that down too in a second. And this is why you can't just hear the story from just one perspective. You got to hear it all the way around, because I seen Patrick David's emails first. And then I went back and I just watched this one in real time. So let's go ahead. You right, Boxing Logic. The emails did not say it would include Roland Martin. From a business perspective, okay? Anybody that I'm having coming in as a guest, I'm going to let them know exactly what they're getting into and who's going to be on the panel with them, just to make sure that they're comfortable. Just to make sure that they're comfortable, even because I'm not going to spend a lot of time, money, and resources bringing somebody in, and then I bring them into a situation that they don't even want to be a part of. And it make me look bad. Come on, man. Y'all gotta let go of this simp, but you can simp for somebody. You can simp from a businessman perspective too. Come on, dog. This is a finesse. This is the finesse of all finesses.
All right. He goes, no, I'm just doing what they asked me to do. And I tell him this, I was like, man, I had this other Uber driver, it's a 2-minute drive and blah, blah. And we go through all of that. And then I say to him, I was like, hey man, I gotta be careful because I don't know how elaborate or what Patrick Bet-David and Valuetainment are doing. I go, but I see you got a camera here. I don't know if there's some kind of candid camera. I don't know what's going on, but I got to be careful here.
He had a camera there too? Oh man, what's going on, bro?
I'm not sure what's going on. And this again, where my philosophy serves me well. I don't get in Ubers and want to have long drawn out conversations with the Uber driver. I don't, I'm really reserved and I'm an introvert and aloof when engaging with people I don't know. The guy had an innocent explanation for his camera being there. A lot of Uber drivers have cameras there to protect themselves or whatever. But the guy he told me stories about his Christian walk and all that. And I engaged him a little bit, but the conversation seemed like he had done some research on me and was trying to walk me into a conversation or whatever because of the show. But I just wasn't comfortable with the driver. I was appreciative of the fact
because now you in a different city, you with somebody else's driver. Now you replaying all of the red flags that you got back in your mind, and this is valid. This is a valid. Listen, you're not gonna tell me that Jason Whitlock is in the wrong here because he didn't want to get finessed and he wasn't fully aware of what it is that he was getting themselves into. Because we all grown men and we all businessmen and we know what we doing when we get into it. This is not a mistake. This is not a mistake. You're not going to sit here and tell me that it's calm and all of this. Y'all are biased. Y'all need to remove your bias so that you can be objective enough to eat. That's why y'all get finessed, because you do things based off of who you like and not doing things based off of what makes the most sense. This is why the majority of y'all are getting finessed. This is a finesse if I have never seen one before in my life.
That he acknowledged that, that clearly they had instructed him to give me the runaround. And it clearly seemed to be, he didn't know this, because I don't think he picked up Roland Martin. But I was like, clearly they're trying to keep me away from someone or something they didn't want me to know. And as I started replaying the entire scenario, I can't, and I want you guys to chime in on this via email, via the comments over YouTube, comments on Apple. I would love for you all's take on what happened here. My read, as I've mentioned earlier, is I think that Patrick Bet-David isn't a fan of Roland Martin. Thinks Roland Martin is a race hustler, a race baiter.
That's correct.
Wanted to have a debate with Roland Martin. Roland Martin loves talking and loves attention from anybody.
Right.
Probably was down in Florida, offered himself up to Patrick Bet-David, because that's Roland's job. Go pick fights with people that disagree with the left, defund the police, anything the Democratic Party is promoting. It's Roland's job to go pick a fight with them, and then use all the tactics they trained him in, and deflection and distraction and filibustering, and to use all those tactics. And then you get a nice little clip out of it rolling. It looks like, I took on so-and-so, and look how I mistreated them or blasted them, blah, blah, blah. But so I think Patrick Bet-David wanted to have an argument with Roland, knew that as a non-black person, there was some risk in debating a race-baiting clown like Roland. Roland will quickly go to, oh, you ain't black, so shut up. And so Patrick Bet-David thought, oh, I got Jason Whitlock. I'll have him go into the ring and fight with Roland, and I'll stay out of it. I'll just referee the fight between Roland and Jason, and I will lean the fight Jason's direction through my refereeing. And Jason will be good with that because, Jason's like me. He does.
This is that. I mean, honestly, I can't see one thing that he's saying that is not probably 100% accurate. I believe the same thing. And now, because we got more information and we actually able to see things in hindsight, Patrick Bet-David debating Roland Martin, it don't even sound logical, right? Why would Patrick Bet-David debate Roland Martin? And what we now seen is that Patrick Bet-David had to have the show go on because he still already had Roland Martin there. Jason Whitlock pulled out and was like, nah, you're not about to finesse me with information that I'm not even prepared for. And so now that's why you seen Patrick Bet-David having that conversation with Roland Martin. And they wind up doing phenomenal numbers or whatever. But a lot of people, even though Patrick Bet-David, I stand on what it is that he looks at things from a business perspective, not victim, more from a conservative mindset and everything like that. A lot of people say that Roland Martin washed Patrick Bet-David. A lot of people said that he won that debate between Patrick Bet-David, which then makes sense based off of what Whitlock is saying. Okay. So let me go ahead and play Patrick Bet-David's response.
Let me comment on something that happened this week. So on Monday, we had who was it? We had Roland Martin in the house. We did a podcast, phenomenal.
Let's speed it up, y'all.
With him, debate, all of it was great. But certain things happened. Yesterday, Jason Whitlock reacted to a video that he made talking about what we do at Valuetainment, calling me names, a lot of different things. And he said the fact that he was invited on Monday, it was a setup to him because we were trying to get him, et cetera, et cetera. Let me kind of read you a story, tell you the story of what happened here with Jason Whitlock. So the first time, Rob, we invited Jason Whitlock was when?
I believe the first time, August of 2022.
And you have the email of this. If you can zoom in so we can show the first email that went in.
A lot of people think that just because they show the receipts, that's supposed to validate the behavior. But actually, I seen this, but I'm gonna still play it. The receipts actually show that it shows the finesse, and I'm gonna break it down for y'all.
And we blanked out his email address. We just didn't want it.
So this is the first email that goes, and it says, hey, we would like to have you on to discuss your story, et cetera, et cetera. Patrick's admiration.
All right, so let's look at the email because we can stop this now. And usually it's the assistants or the producers that then put together whatever it is that's going on. So they lead with, we got 4 million subscribers, 7 billion minutes watched, right, to see if Jason Whitlock is available for an interview. Patrick's an entrepreneur. We all know who you are. Okay, they sold it. All right, so this is just a general standard template that they use in order to reach out to people that they want to get on the show. And they say, we want to have you on the show. That's all the email is saying, is that we want to have you on the show. It's not showing any receipts. It's not disproving anything that Jason Whitlock is saying. All it says is a standard email that says, we want to get you on the show. All right?
For Jason Whitlock. I've liked his content for a long time. I think he does a good job, whether it's sports. He's got a show called Fearless with Jason Whitlock. So perfect. You send him a message. Nothing happens. You send him another message. I think December 14th, you send him another email to have him on the podcast.
Correct. That's when we confirmed that he was interested in coming in.
Yeah.
And then from there, we decided we would figure out a good date.
And this is the email that he showed in the video yesterday saying the fact that they didn't tell me anything. Now, I'm going to show you these emails.
All right. So I can parse through this myself. Thanks for getting back to me. This is somebody else that's replying as a result on the behalf of Jason Whitlock. Thanks for getting back to me. The interview will cover Jason's career with ESPN. Hold on, let me see something. So this is the email that they sent in, right? So obviously Jason responded back and said, okay, what are we going to be talking about? What is this what is this pertaining to? Why do you want me on the show? What is the format? What time it's going to be or whatever. So this is standard. When you reach out to people that are of significance and you're trying to get them into the studio or you're trying to fly them in or whatever, they're trying to parse through why you want them there. They want to know the understanding. They're trying to, get themselves better prepared to be able to have the conversation. And so obviously the email that they're not showing is that Jason Whitlock or whoever it is on their behalf reached back out and said, why do you want us here? Okay. This is a response email from Valuetainment that said the interview would cover Jason's career. We're going to go over. We're going to do this slow for the C students in the back. It's going to cover Jason's career with ESPN and the Blaze, which obviously that debate had nothing to do with it, but we're going to get into that in a minute. Jason's career with ESPN and the Blaze, his show Fearless with Jason Whitlock, as well as current events, trending topics, and the news stories. A full list of topics will be provided to Jason for the interview for his review. If possible, we'd like to see if Jason's available for an in-person interview from our Fort Lauderdale, Florida studio sometimes in 2023. Valuetainment will provide round-trip airfare, which for large companies, I do it because I'm just a bag chaser, right? But most people can't provide it. They cannot just pay for your airfare. They're not flying for you round trip. Most people ain't bag chasers like us over in the Patreon. Link to the Patreon is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Thank you, Brock, for the super chat. I'm reading that in a second. They said that they're going to pay for the airfare, hotel, and ground transportation. Anton from Anton Daniels do the same thing. I'll pay for airfare, hotel, and ground transportation, all right? Please let us know if it's any additional information to provide. So again, this email is pretty standard. They want to know. They just want to interview Jason Whitlock. That's all they're saying is I want to interview you and understand better who you are, so I can get you on the show. All right.
Also, everybody knows because he showed the emails himself as well. Thanks for getting back to me. The interview would cover Jason's career at ESPN, The Blaze, his show Fearless, Great. This is the email he showed yesterday, which the date on this is December 14th, right? Yep. Then after this, we schedule a time for him to be on the podcast on February 16th.
Correct.
Then you get back to him because February 16th, I'm either speaking in Vegas or Orlando next week. I have travel. So we asked to see if we can do it on another date. Simultaneously, when we're going back and forth, the Tyree Nichols tragic event takes place. So I say, I'd love to have somebody come in to have a show, and preferably, let's have a panel to be a debate from both sides of the aisle. Somebody that says, hey, even though the 5 cops were black, it's still a systemic racism. Somebody that says, no, it's not. So we can have good banter there. You reach out to a list of names, one of them being Roland Martin. Roland Martin confirms with you when? February, I believe, 6th.
Well, yeah, he said he was going to be in town February 6th.
Which is this Monday.
Yes.
This past.
So let's not finesse the words. Roland Martin confirmed before that he was going to be in town on February 6th. He didn't confirm on February. Come on, y'all. Y'all gonna have to get past the fast talking and the smooth talking to be able to parse through and understand what's going on. Roland Martin did not say. And this is why let me rewind it for y'all, and I'm going to slow it down. Slow it down. I just dissed you. Listen to what's being communicated.
With you when? February, one of them being Roland Martin. Roland Martin confirms with you when? February, I believe, 6th.
No. Roland Martin did not confirm with him on February 6th. Roland Martin confirmed with him before it and said that he would be in town on February 6th. The producer is not doing what he's supposed to do as far as conversating correctly in order to be able to parse through and make Patrick Bet-David look good. Patrick Bet-David is, come on, man. Come on, y'all. Let's look at it for the facts. When you seeing people talk, you got to look at a lot of other factors other than just what it is that they telling you, okay? Now, I'm going to speed this up.
Well, yeah, he said he was going to be in town February 6th.
Which is this.
He said he's going to be in town February 6th. Not that that's when he was confirmed.
Monday,
Yes.
this past Monday.
Correct.
Okay, so you do that. Then you go back to Jason Whitlock and you ask him if he can do it on February 6th as well.
Well, we've initially offered him a few dates to
Yeah.
see if he could come at a different time because you were not going to be here for the 16th. He didn't respond back, so then I sent a follow-up email and said, hey, we have limited dates because the other dates were booked with other guests. Could you do this date, which happened to be Monday, February 6th? And from there, he agreed, and I sent the next email if you want me to show it.
So before you show the other email, this is the
But
criticism that he
you
gave.
never, okay, I'm going to let him.
That I want to, kind of explain to the audience what happened. So both show up here on the podcast. We have.
So that's the finesse. That's the finesse. You're not going to sit here and say, well, so both of them showed up here at the same date. Are you telling me that a person that has this many people working for him, assistants, that is a businessman, that every single thing you do, you know exactly what's happening because you live and die by your calendar? There is nothing that goes on that I do not know what is happening from a scheduling perspective as far as what it is that's going. Tonight, we will be in the studio doing our thing. I know each and every person, what time they're supposed to be there, who's supposed to be on the panel, so on and so forth. You're not going to sit here and tell me that you don't know what's going on. You're not just going to skip over and say, well, okay, so they both showed up on the same day. Coincidence, maybe? Coincidence, maybe? Come on, man. Come on, man. Y'all not just going to let this fly just for the sake because it's Patrick Bet-David, are y'all? Because again, we gotta be objective. You're not going to just let this fly about the fact that it's Patrick. So they both showed up on February 6th. Come on, man. Come on. You're not going to fast talk me, and you're not going to finesse me, and you're not going to skip over the details. The email that he said, all right, let me just continue to play.
Roland, who's running late, a few minutes. So our driver that was driving up, Rob, if you want to talk about the driver that was driving Jason, you tell him, hey, since other guest is late, you don't have to worry about if you're running late, it's fine. You're going to be okay. Bring him in here.
Yeah, there was no rush.
That's not what Jason Whitlock said. Jason Whitlock said he talked to the driver and the driver told him a completely different story. Come on.
You're off. Can't hear your audio.
There was no. How about now? There you go. There was no rush to be here at 9 o'clock on the dot because our other guest was running late, so we're not going to be able to start at 9. So take your time getting here.
Right. So then he gets here. So Jason's downstairs. Roland is upstairs. I walk up to talk to Jason to say, hey, Jason, excited to have you here. Jason says, hey, beautiful building. I couldn't, you guys got a big operation here. I said, thank you. I said, the panel that we're going to do the podcast with is Roland Martin. How do you feel about Roland Martin? His entire physiology completely changed.
Why did he not know until he got into? Okay, this is the thing. Why wasn't Jason Whitlock informed on exactly who it was going to be on the panel? That's just being a good person, having good character, and doing good business. Because you then want to give somebody the option before they get there, but you don't box them in and then hope that they don't leave because I'm already here now and you got a big platform, so I don't want to look like a coward or anything like that. You don't finesse people like that, man. Yes, I am agreeing with Jason Whitlock on this. You don't finesse people like that. And then later in this particular stream, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to play it, he tried to throw a shot at him by doing an ad hominem, doing a shame guilt, need to be right, insults. He did that too, and we're going to get to that because I got time today. You cannot, listen, if I invite a girl over to my crib, let's be real. Let's look at it from all angles. If I invite a girl over to my crib and I say, hey, man, listen, I'm looking for you to come over. I want to watch a movie with you. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be an intimate setting. Me and you going to be kicking it. I want to talk to you personally. And then, we're going to see what's happening after that. Maybe we can Netflix or chill. Maybe we can go to dinner or whatever, so on and so forth. Her expectation is that it's going to be me and her. We're going to go do whatever we're going to do. And then it's going to be an intimate setting. That's the expectation, right? If she gets to my crib and it's a whole bunch of dudes there, and it's 7 different dudes and me, and then she coming through, she gonna be looking like, what the fuck is going on? I didn't sign up for this. Why wasn't you transparent? Because you knew what you was doing. You knew that you was inviting me over here with a whole bunch of dudes. You knew the goal was to try to run a train on me. You knew you was gonna try to make me into a busto, and that's what makes it disingenuous. That's what makes it disingenuous because nobody in their right mind does that, and they don't. Even Dr. Phil was like, Anton, we want you to come in. It's going to be a panel. I need you to pre-record this so we can show it during the show. This is how long it's going to be. This is how many people you're going to be debating against. These are the people that you're going to be sitting next to. They gave me every single detail that they could possibly give me. I'm going to read the super chats throughout the show. They gave me every single detail that they can possibly give me. I knew who the authors were. I was riding over into the studio with those people specifically before we even got there, and we had conversations, and so there was no misunderstanding. You showed up, you did what you did, and it was all above board. It was 100% above board. Let's continue. I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play the whole thing.
I saw him being very uncomfortable, and I didn't like that. Now, to be fair, the email that Jason didn't show his audience when he criticized us is the email he got Friday, 3 days before the day of the podcast, which I don't think Jason read. So let's show the email on. I'm
gonna show this email. I'm gonna read it
a little bit on this email. This email.
All right. So, hi, Jason. Here's the interview confirmation for Monday. We confirmed for a podcast appearance. Cool. Where? February 6th. They give the location. Whatever. Arrival time 8:45. Departure time 11 and 12. Point of contact. Topics. Panel discussion on police reform, the 2024 presidential election, the U.S. economy, and a mix of current events, trending topics. Now, this is 3 days. Who does business like this? 3 days before you actually schedule to be there. They give you your flight information, American Airlines, so on and so forth, blah, 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 blah. They do not say who is going to be on that panel. Let me say that again. They did not say who was going to be there on that panel. What if, think about it like this. I know that you don't like somebody in particular, right? I bring them in, and then they just show up, And then the person that wind up being the person that you see just so happen to be the person that you absolutely hate the most and the one that you feel like has been trolling you and making videos about you and so on and so forth. There is, Tay-Biz TV, you said it. There is nothing in this that mentions Roland Martin. Not one thing in there that mentioned Roland Martin. Not one. Somebody said Jason didn't ask either. Is it my responsibility or am I the talent? You reached out to me. You asked me to be there. And Jason Whitlock absolutely did ask. He asked in a follow-up email and said, what is it going to be about? What is it that we're trying to talk about? And in the subsequent email, it said specifically, because a panel discussion, let's be for real, a panel discussion could be your panel, Patrick Bet-David, the people that he got on his podcast on a regular debate. Like, technically, what we're looking at right now with him, his producer, his co-host, or whatever, that's a panel. That's literally a panel. If you sent me this email, I'm not thinking that me and you are doing a one-on-one interview. I'm thinking that we're going to be on a panel with all of your guests and your discussions, and this is what we was going to be talking about. He didn't say he was going to have a bunch of other guests. There is nothing in this email that says that he was going to have other guests. Listen, all the way around, it's a finesse. All the way around, it's a finesse. It's a finesse. It's a finesse. I don't care how y'all want to spin it. I don't care how you want to play on words. I don't care how you want to make it technical and all of this other type of stuff. It's a finesse. And you know why it's a finesse? You can show all of the emails and everything, right? The reason that it's a finesse, the reason why it's a finesse is because you knew what you were doing before you did it, but you left out key details because you didn't want me to know certain things because you knew that it might have messed up what it is that you had going on. You knew what you were doing. You left out key details because you didn't want me to know certain things, and you literally, and see, look, Jason and his fearlessness should annihilate both Roland. Listen. You're not gonna put me in a negative situation or in a situation that I don't care for, I don't want to be in, and then say, well, you should have did it anyway. Man, fuck you. You're not gonna put me in a negative situation or in a situation that I didn't even sign up for. Regardless of whether or not I was great at it or I wasn't, you're not gonna put me in a negative situation and say, well, you should have did it because the name of your stuff. No, that's an ad hominem. You wasn't on the up and up. You did not take care of business. You know, at this level, listen, this ain't no hood shit. This is a production. These are people that's been doing this for years. These are people that understand looking at things from a business perspective. You know better. You know better. You know better than what it is that we seeing happening right now. And this is the exact reason why I say it on a regular basis. I don't care about visibility. I don't care about none of that. Character is just as important as somebody being good at business. And I personally just don't do business with everybody. I don't give a fuck about what it could mean for me. I don't care how much more it could mean for the platform. I want to do good business 100% of the time. I'm not about to sit here and get caught up in that nonsense.
It was sent to both him and it was sent to Roland Martin. Can you show the date? February 3rd. Okay. Here's the interview, et cetera, et cetera. Monday, February 6th. We'll be at the address, et cetera, et cetera. And then topics. Look at the topics. Zoom in a little bit. Panel discussion on police reform, the 2024 presidential election, the U.S. economy.
Don't say that Jason Whitlock is not about that action. He only do it with nope. Because Jason Whitlock pulled up on me and he was like, and I was like, yo, if you really about that life, then pull up. And he was like, all right, don't get off the panel. And he pulled up. And we disagreed and we had some things that we agreed on. But let's be clear. Listen, don't start trying to distract from what it is that's going on just because you like Patrick Bet-David. Jason Whitlock is not wrong. Jason Whitlock is not wrong. He's not wrong. And whatever these emails is showing does not address the issue that Jason Whitlock brought up. Y'all can throw whatever excuses and ad hominem attacks into it. You know what you're doing when you're doing good business.
Topics. Keyword there is what? Panel discussion on police reform.
You on a panel right now. If you look over in your lower right-hand corner, let me remove the alpha juice right here. That's literally a panel. That's literally a panel. A panel discussion. You did not tell me that there were going to be other outsiders. You knew what you was doing. You tried to finesse me, and now you want to sit here and try to throw names and say, well, the name of your podcast is Fearless. Come on, man. Stop. Stop, bro. Stop. And now because we addressing it and we exposing it, you trying to save face. This is a spin move if I ain't never seen it before in my life.
What this show is about. This was on Friday. He could have said, who is the panel? Did he ever ask you who's part of the panel?
No, he did not.
Not once did you get a question from who's part of the panel.
No, I did not.
Did Roland ask you a question who's part of the panel?
So it's his responsibility to ask you who's a part of the panel. It's not your responsibility to be forthcoming. It's not your responsibility to be forthcoming. I can't.
He did not as well.
So neither one of them asked you who's part of the panel. No problem. So here's the thing. Dan Bongino invites me on the show to be on Fox. No problem. I go on the show to be on Fox. They say, hey, Patrick, we want Patrick to be on Fox to debate Bitcoin. First thing I tell Karina and Sam, I'm like, I'm not a Bitcoin guy. He says, well, Dan wants you to go out there and debate. I said, who's the debate? We don't know yet. Perfect. I go on it. All of a sudden, I get an email. The person you're debating, because we ask who is the person I'm debating, is going to be Peter Schiff. We did the show. It got very good views, a lot of good.
I don't care. How many views you get, how well you did in it, does not change the fact that you did some slimy scumball stuff. I don't care. Just because you... And instead of owning it, and instead of saying, you know what, we could have did things differently, because I don't see anybody taking accountability for their participation in it. Instead of them saying, yep, we were supposed to do things the right way, and we were supposed to take care of business. Yep, you know what, that was an oversight. We would even roll with it if it was a mistake. That was an oversight. We should have told him. You know what, going forward, we're going to be a little bit more transparent. But a lot of y'all in the chat is telling me that this has happened before, and this ain't even the first time. That it was a surprise thing with Coach Greg Adams. A lot of y'all are saying that it was a surprise thing. Look, they did it to CJ and Hafiz. So you telling me that if it happens more than one time, that it's not a mistake then, right? And just because they got a whole lot of subscribers, we supposed to roll with it just because they the popular kid on the block. Man, fuck that. You're not going to bully me into doing what it is that you want me to do. I have the choice to be able to do it, and you're not going to sit here and say that I'm bad because I decided not to do something based off of the fact that you decided to not disclose all of the information. That is bad business. It's bad business all the way around, and I'm not going for it. I don't care who the popular man on the block is. I don't care if I never get invited over to Valuetainment. I don't give a fuck. It's bad business all the way around. Flat out. It's bad business.
Good feedback. It was great TV. Everybody loved it. There was strong banter. Dan Bongino won because he got eyeballs because our audience showed up. We won because we were able to get Dan Bongino's eyeballs.
Congratulations.
Of his audience, and they saw us. So both, it's a win-win. This is kind of what you call media. But
no, it's not just media. It's doing good business, and just because the media is getting away with it don't mean that it's the right thing to do. Just because you got a big platform, whether it's Fox or whether it's Valuetainment, just because you got a big platform do not mean that you get to get away with doing egregious shit. The more you grow, the higher you get, the more transparent and the more better business you're supposed to do. This is the same thing that record companies do and record labels do. This is the same thing that janky promoters do. And just because we got a suit and we got a nice platform and we got a whole lot of... Man, stop that, bro. Stop it, man. That's bad business. You got to have good character all the way across the board to take responsibility and say, I apologize. I could have did things better. Things would be smoothed over so much better if people just say, you know what? My bad. I should have did it differently. I apologize. I should have never said that to you, or I should have never did that.
Jason goes on and he says, they didn't tell me what it was about. They didn't tell me it was going to be shown. This was all a setup. So again, up until this point, this is what's not been shown to everybody in his audience. I go to Jason. Jason says, there's no way I'm going to sit with this guy. He says a couple different words. He says he's stalking me on Twitter all the time, et cetera, et cetera. So I said, okay, no problem. I don't want to make this guy feel bad because I like him.
The receipts didn't show anything. Y'all just making stuff up. Just because somebody pull up an email does not substantiate the argument. He was blindsided and he was not informed on what it is that was going on. And the driver confirmed to Jason Whitlock, because he just said it, that it was a finesse and they was trying to kill time in order to be able to, and they was trying to bring him in through back doors because they didn't want to see each other. Now you want to walk in and act like you, man, stop that, bro. I'm not going for this shit. I can't stand when people do bad business, bro.
Him a lot. I like his content. I think Jason's very necessary. I said, Jason, how about we do this? Let's just do a podcast, you and I, and then I'll do Roland's in an hour, but let's do podcast, you and I. He says, no problem. Sits in there. I come in here. I tell you guys to prepare.
No, because you already showed yourself to do bad character, and now you trying to you know what I'm saying? You trying to backtrack, or you trying to make it right in the moment. You knew what you was doing. You was hoping to get a certain result. It didn't turn out the way that you wanted it to turn out, and so now we got to move a little bit differently. You knew what you was doing. Now you trying to save face, and you trying to. I know. I'm seeing what's happening.
The moment we're about to walk out, Jason walks out. When he walks out, Mario follows him. Everybody follows him. What's going on? They want to make this thing good. Hey, Pat, he's not talking to us. I walk out. I don't have any problem having a conversation. I said, Jason, what's going on? He said, hey, Jason, what is going on? Let's just do a podcast here together. Do you realize how much the Blaze pays me? I said, how much does the Blaze pay you? They pay me a lot of money, and I took.
No, I'm not telling you how much money that they pay me. I'm not telling you what my contract is, because it ain't even about the money. It's about the fact that you don't value my time, and I had to take off time in order to be able to take care of this, and you tried to finesse me. It's the principle of this bitch.
A day from my schedule on Blaze to be here. I don't like that, because I hate it when people waste my time. I don't like wasting his time. I said, what's your daily rate? I'll compensate you if that's how you feel.
No.
But there is no motive here. We said it's a panel. How do you not see that it's a panel? You're not.
Because Jason never asked for money. He was saying that you don't respect my time because I'm worth a lot of money and I get paid a lot of money. And they trying to act like that. Man, you're not going to finesse me. You're not going to disrespect me and finesse me in the same breath. You're not going to disrespect me and finesse me in the same sentence. No. The answer is no. I'm about to read Super Chats right after this. And then I'm going to get to Roland Martin's response, because I didn't even see Roland Martin.
Stop Roland Martin. Anyways, he's walking. By the way, he crosses the street, red light. I have to stop. I said, bro, just relax. Yeah. Pump the brakes. Traffic is coming. Crosses the street. I said, can I offer anything to you? No. Can I send you driver? No. I don't trust this. I don't trust that. He leaves. No problem.
He don't trust y'all. He don't trust you, and I don't either. It's like a bad bitch that came in and walked in, and it was seven muscle-bound prisoners waiting in the same door when you told her that you was just gonna have her over in order to have a panel discussion with you and your chick. No, she thought she was doing a threesome. She didn't know she was doing a seven some bust down. She thought she was coming in there for a threesome. She didn't know she was coming in there to get a train ran on her by a bunch of muscle-bound monsters that's just gotten out of prison. You're not gonna finesse me, and you're not gonna walk me down. I don't want you to walk me down to my car. I don't want you to take me to my home. I don't want you to take me to the airport. She don't want none of that. She just want to leave. She just want to go. She don't trust you. She don't even trust to get in your car. Why would she get in your car and you tried to set her up to get a train ran on her and she didn't know what she was getting into? We're not stupid.
Takes off. Roland comes on, we do a podcast, fiery podcast, we do a very good job. Jason talks about the fact that he needed me to go against a guy like Roland Martin because he needed somebody that can go and handle somebody like Roland Martin. First of all, neither Roland or Jason Whitlock are in the top 100 most intimidating people I've ever sat with.
Look, now it's the ad hominem. Neither one of them are intimidating to me. Neither one of them are intimidating to me. You don't want to stick to the facts. You don't want to stick to the. Come on, man. See, when you let people talk enough and you put them in a certain position, eventually they're going to reveal who they are. When you let people talk enough and you let them, eventually they're going to reveal who they are. And that's why I said, I don't, and I've been telling y'all this, my bag tasters, make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. I do not do business with everybody. I am very, very careful on who it is that I align with. And if I decide or I see something that I don't like, then I just remove myself from it completely. Because just because you are successful and just because you also get to the bag does not determine whether or not we're going to do business together. It's a no for me. It's a no.
In my life, I've sat with
Sammy the Bull Gravano.
I've sat with a lot of intimidating people, very big names. I just like both Roland Martin because he likes to get dirty and fight, and I also like Jason Whitlock because he's got a completely different perspective. I probably agree with Jason more than I agree with Roland Martin on many of the policies. If you watch the podcast, it was pretty obvious before you see it. So then he used a race card, and he said, "Well, this is he would never do this with Jordan Peterson." He's using a race card. You know, what he's trying to do is, he's doing this because I'm black. This is the part that's very confusing. He's a guy.
I didn't see that part, but I'm going to have to go back and watch it, and I might have to do a second breakdown because I'm sure there's more context to it, so I'm not going to respond to that one.
Guy that paints himself as a conservative Republican who doesn't like when the left uses their race to act as a victim, but that's exactly what you just did, Jason.
No, nigga, you was wrong. No, homie, you was wrong all the way across the board. Don't sit here and talk about this victim mentality shit. Just he never called himself a victim. He never acted like a victim. He said, "I don't fuck with you." He did the Big Sean song and he said, "Listen, I'm out of here. I don't fuck with you." I'm sorry, I gotta stop cussing. Jason asked me to stop cussing. I have to go back and watch the video, but listen. Don't tell me that I'm not a victim. You just did bad business.
And my idea was, because I got two suggestions here to finish this thought off, what we learned from this experience, and as well as feedback to you, Jason, to wrap this whole thing up, because I'm not going to comment on this again. Number one, what we learned from this, we will never waste our resources without telling you who's going to be part of the panel. So when Rob and I had a meeting and
thank you. And please don't do it again because we heard that you did it multiple different times with people, a lot of different people before this.
Others, we said, let's make sure everybody knows before we buy the tickets because it is a waste of our money as well. We also lost money. So number one, we learned from our lessons, made a mistake. Next time, anytime we invite with a panel, we're going to say, here's who it's going to be before we spend the money on the flight. But I got a recommendation for you, Jason Whitlock. Your show is called Fearless.
And this is where the ad hominem attacks come in. This is where the ad hominem attacks. Instead of saying, listen, I apologize. I should have told you. I need to operate differently, and just leave it at that. He literally could have saved face and did things differently, but he didn't do that. This is what he said.
If you really want to have a show called Fearless, you either become fearless and face off with anybody to have a debate with, or you change your show's name to Fearful. But you can't say you're fearless and come to a place and then say we have feminine energy. And the person that has the feminine energy is the person that walked out, and we're right here waiting for you. So you go ahead and figure that part out the way you want. Having said that, I respect the work you've done. I think you're a super necessary voice.
No. I can't stand people like this, bro. And then you try to make yourself look like you're the masculine one by then giving me a backhanded compliment after it is you tried to talk junk about me when you was the wrong one. You wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. Man, listen, bro. Thank God that I grew up in the environments and the hoods and stuff that I grew up in because, is this a blue meanie? Oh, yeah, you gave me the blue meanie. That's what's up. Thank God I grew up in the environments and the places, because they say it's a difference between being book smart and street smart. One thing I will say about Patrick Bet David is that he is very, very street smart. And all of y'all that is easily finessed, it's so easy for him to be able to get one over on you with this whole situation because I'm not going for it, bro. I'm not going for it. That's some grimy shit. Own it. If you don't do it, if you're gonna stand on it, then stand on it all the way. It's horrible, bro. It's bad business.
I had a very good time with Roland Martin. I think we would have had blast if it was the three of us, but it didn't work out. So best of luck to Jason. This is what happened to the story that he didn't cover with you guys when he went on a 3-hour, 2-hour live talking about this while I'm trying to put my kids down. Everyone's calling me. Let me tell you what you said there. I'm like, dude, I'm putting my kids down right now. I'm spending time with.
Now you wasn't paying attention and you don't care. Now you wasn't paying attention. You know what? He went on his little rant. He don't mean nothing to me. I'm big dog.
Brooklyn yesterday, and I'm having a very good conversation with my oldest son because of what we're working on with his grades. Rob, did I miss anything else from what I covered here?
The only thing I would say is that in this email chain, I asked, and it's not on this email here, but in a subsequent email, I asked for plugs to mention, social media handles to mention, and Jason responded to that. So he was reading the email. There's no way you could skip this portion and then answer the portion below and provide your social media handles, your projects.
So he did.
So what part of that did you mention that it was going to be outsiders on the panel and who was going to be on the panel? That's first and foremost. Secondly, listen, before an email ever, and y'all, this is so disingenuous. Before an email ever touches my hands, Rita, God is my witness. You're sitting here with me right now. I am not looking at you. I'm looking at the screen. Do I ever see an email before you or an assistant read it first? No. Say it one more time. Do I ever see an email before you or an assistant read it first?
No.
So Oh man, you wanted to be the referee, you wanted to keep your hands clean, and you wanted to put them in a debate, which is fine if that was what you wanted to do. But you got to make sure that people agree to it first. If I want to bring somebody up for a debate, I'm gonna tell them, hey fam, I want you to debate against such and such and such and such. You want me to? I want to set that up. Are you cool with that? I'm not gonna finesse them. I'm not gonna say, yeah, we're gonna jump on the panel and whatever happens happens. No, you know what you're doing, and you know what you're setting it up. Tell me who it is that I'm going to debate. Let me make the decision for myself. Don't ambush me and surprise me and then want to throw shade at me and attacks at me when I'm not rocking out with what it is that you're saying. That's bullshit all the way across the board. Bull dung. It's bull dung. I don't hit the same. Let me see, Roland. Where did Roland Martin drop one at? I don't see Roland Martin talking about it. I don't see Roland Martin talking about it. I said he dropped it 30 minutes ago. Live. I don't see Roland Martin stuff. I don't see it. I don't see anything. Y'all said Roland Martin had dropped a response. Or was y'all talking about Oh, you saying Jason Whitlock responded to what he said? All right. Let me see. Jason.
Atheist, the secular world.
Let's see. Oh, okay. All right. Let's play this.
He's using a race card. You know, what he's trying to do is, he's doing this because I'm black. This is the part that's very confusing. He's a guy that paints himself as a conservative Republican who
I'm reading super
like
chats
when
right
the left uses their race to act as a victim, but that's exactly what you just did.
Did he listen to Tuesday's show? And have you all been listening to this show? This whole thing, Jason paints himself as a conservative.
Make sure y'all hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Also, make sure you tap into the Patreon. I just dropped the video today. Just dropped the video in the Patreon today, and it is a phenomenal video. Make sure you tap in. And I'm dropping another video. I'm going to re-upload the actual video instead of a link to the webinar for the video that we did last weekend. And then either this weekend or within the next 2 or 3 days, I will be doing another live stream with you guys. Actually thinking about maybe I'll do it on Tuesday night. I think Tuesday night would be better. Like, that's the best day of the week for me to do a live stream with the Patreon members. We'll figure it out. I'm going to announce it in the Patreon. Let's get into the show. I want to see what Jason Whitlock's response is to them playing the race card.
Conservative Republican win. Did I not say on Tuesday? Conservative. We put out a social media clip. It's on my Twitter feed with me quoted as saying, being a conservative is completely irrelevant. Conservatives won't save you. The entire message of this show for 2 straight years, politics is not the problem. Politics will not save you. I said it on Tuesday. We put out clips pointing to that. When I was explaining to him, I was like, Patrick Bet-David considers himself some sort of conservative or lightweight conservative. And I was like, conservatives won't save you. They're just as dishonest, just as corrupt. Being a conservative doesn't stop you from lying. I said they're playing for the wrong C team. Play for Christ.
You got to respect it. You got to respect it. Just because I may have conservative values or principles that you may align with doesn't mean that we actually look at things from a character perspective in the same way. It does not matter whether you're a Democrat or you Republican, whether you're conservative or liberal. That does not determine your character. It does not determine whether or not you're a good person. It's slime balls all the way across the board. As a matter of fact, conservatives and liberals in the Congress, they work together behind the scenes when it is that they selling you and what it is that they got to do.
As best I can tell, Patrick Bet-David doesn't have any Christian religious values, at least in his dealings with me and in his rebuttal. But the entire point of this show has been repeatedly the Republican Party and conservatives won't save you. I've told you and been honest on this show, I've never voted. These are lies and obvious distortions. All these little tiny lies all add up to a big lie. This is what a used car salesman does. As it relates to the race car, if any of you out there, if that's the perception of me, or, because again, I'm just a Christian, don't put that conservative Republican thing on me. Don't do it. But if you are a conservative Christian, or if you have this vision of black people that consider themselves conservative Republicans, and your expectation is, oh, black conservative Republican thinks there's no racism. That's not true, for one. But as it relates to me, are you listening to this show? Do you comprehend? This guy keeps saying he likes me, my voice is necessary, he's followed my work. Have you listened to my message? I know racism exists. I know that I've experienced it. I know that racism is not bigger than Christ. I know that racism doesn't stop me from achieving in this country. I think all these people running around, oh, racism, I can't make it in America. I think that's BS. I've experienced it. You can still make it in this country. Racism is just a form of unfairness, and you're going to experience unfairness in this world. And if you don't have Christ on your side, you're going to fold from unfairness. And you're going to fall into a victimhood, and I can't make it. I've experienced unfairness. Patrick Fraud David is an idiot. He's painting himself as smart, but anybody with a brain knows my message. I am not in denial of racial bias. It flows all directions. Black people racist to white people racist to black people. It flows all directions. In America, the way it used to be, you could overcome it. In any place in the planet, you put Jesus on your team and you can overcome it. That's my message. I'm not in denial. I talk about, and see, Patrick Bet-David, nobody complains when I say, and I've said it many times on this show, these white liberals, and their little low expectations and all their little solutions, I call them racist all the time. They don't like black people. They started the KKK. They want black people to obey them and see them as God. They're racist. I do it all the time. Patrick Bet-David just doesn't like it when I say, no, man, this BS you're doing smells racist to me. Because you wouldn't do it to Jordan Peterson. You wouldn't do it to Dave Rubin. You wouldn't do it to Ben Shapiro. You did it to some dude named Coach Greg Adams. I went and looked up the video because people kept emailing me like, oh, they pulled the same stunt with Coach Greg Adams. And guess what? He's a black dude. But again, a used car salesman like you'll be unfair to anybody. But it smelled racist to me because, let me throw this Negro some money. Let me set up a bout between.
I'm not really sure that Patrick Bet-David had wanted Jason Whitlock to come on his show to call him out like this. I'm not sure they would have actually aired this.
Between Jason Whitlock and Roland Martin, and let's have these two Negroes wrestle for our entertainment. And you didn't even tell Roland Martin what you were doing, according to Roland Martin.
I'm gonna just set that there. I don't have an opinion about that one way or another because I can't say what another person's intention is. It seemed like it's getting really, really personal at that point. Jesus Christ. Anyways, it's been a great show. It's been a great week as a result, as a matter of fact. Let me read the super chats and see what's happening out here in these streets. Brock says, pass a love offering. Thank you, Brock, for holding me down. I appreciate you, my friend. You are absolutely positively appreciated. Patrick Hill says, this guy here just told on himself. Patrick Bet-David did tell on himself. Philip Sadiq says, this was going to be an ambush interview and he ain't slick. He just wanted to get the views, man. He wanted to get the views. And there ain't nothing wrong with getting views and getting the money that go along with it and all of that. But we also have to have good character. And I think it's a way that you can go about doing it. And if you don't get the interview because it ain't making sense, then that's okay too. Shout out to, oh man, I got to go up to my dog, Philip Sadiq. Hold on, Philip. I got to come back to you, big dog. Let me get you in there. Because I made a mistake and dropped that one. I don't want to miss anybody that support the platform super chat. I want to make sure I acknowledge everybody that supports the platform. Hold on, give me a second. Brock, Got my dog. Gary S says, keep rocking the truth, Anton, with the 20 ball. I appreciate you, big dog. Thank you for holding me down. Oh, okay, I didn't miss any. Oh, here we go. Philip Sadiq says, this was going to be an ambush interview. Hang slick. Okay, that was the one that I had missed. Thank you. Gary S says, keep rocking the truth, Anton. I appreciate you, Gary S, for the 20 ball. Thank you, my friend. Terry One says, Coach Greg Adams said they did the same thing. He didn't know Hafiz and the other person was going to be there. $5. Thank you, Terry One. I believe it. Jeremy Clay, and maybe because they thought that it went over with him, that they thought it was cool. Jeremy Clay with the 10 ball says, I'm a fan of Patrick Bet-David, and this is a bad look. They've done this a few times. There's definitely a pattern of this bad business. And I'm not saying that people shouldn't rock with Patrick Bet-David, because Patrick Bet-David, obviously, he's a very, very entertaining guy, and he's a good dude and all of that other type of stuff. All I'm saying is that from what I'm seeing and observing this particular live stream, it looked like a bad decision. Shout out to Natasha, my baby from Canada, says, can't wait for part 2 of your Patreon group call this weekend, Anton. Tomorrow, one of your bag chasers will be sharing how you got over $1 million worth of job offers in Q4 2022. Hashtag Discord, if you know, you know. When y'all jump into the Patreon, that link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Thank you, Natasha, for mentioning this. One of the greatest moderators that I've ever seen in my entire life. If y'all have not realized that we do big numbers over here at the Bag Chasers. More importantly, in addition to that, I also want y'all to take into consideration that if you are in the Patreon, any of the most recent videos that you have, a link in the description to that video is to the Discord. Join the Discord, participate with people that is going in the direction that you go in, and get every single resource you need in order to be successful. Thank you, Natasha. I appreciate you for that insight. Anthony L. Kelly, a.k.a. WriteThisWay.com says, you are absolutely right, bruh. I caught it immediately. I seen it immediately. And I am not disillusioned as to what it was that we were witnessing in real time. Jarrell Washington says, Anton, you baited Jason the other day the same way. I did, but I never promised them that I didn't have somebody else waiting in the background to come. I didn't have Roland Martin waiting in the background to come up and say, ha, gotcha. And I didn't bring him out to a city and ask him to quit his job. It wound up being a snowstorm, so it was just kind of the perfect storm. Shout out to Persevere Data TV with the 20 ball says that Detroit and you will know when a person stinks or the situation stinks. You can smell that junk from a mile away. I can spot a dude that is trying to finesse a mile away. Thank you, Persevere Data TV. Patrick David told on himself in the Roland interview, check out the 12:05 mark. He admits what he wanted to do. I'm going to have to check it out. I'm going to go back and watch it. Says, interesting, Roland made a point to emphasize how much he didn't care about knowing who was on the panel or knowing topics. Seems like a subliminal. I think it was negative. I think it was a bad look. I think Patrick Bet-David is not going to be affected one way or another. One of the benefits of having a really, really big platform like Valuetainment and the Patrick Bet-David podcast is that they're able to still get and do whatever it is that they want. It's similar to Vlad. Think about it. Every rapper in the world, all of the people in the black culture will say stuff like, Vlad is with the feds, Vlad set people up. Why is it that we doing it for the culture? I done seen plenty of people, rappers, some of the blackity blacks people say, Vlad this, Vlad that. But nobody actually is going to not go on Vlad because the fact that he has a big platform and they looking at it from an opportunistic perspective will then determine whether or not they're going to still rock with him. Some of the very people that criticize Vlad was still going on Vlad and doing their thing. And it's all about business. People don't care. As long as they can continue to get that bag, which I can't blame them. I can't blame them at all. You have to, as an individual, make the decision as to whether or not you want to rock with somebody. This is my now canceled American Express card. Whether or not you want to rock with somebody based off of character or you just purely looking at it from a business perspective. So, yeah, man. I think it's interesting. I think y'all need to parse through that yourself. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for continuing to rock with me. Again, get into the Alpha Juice Company. It is, the discount code is Anton. Put that in when you order your order. And then in addition to that, again, the Patreon link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. I love you. I appreciate you. Make sure you hit a like for the YouTube algorithm on your way out the door. But I need you to do me one more favor. And y'all know what it is. Do me one more favor before y'all get up out of here. Make sure you share this with your family and friends. We don't want to be successful by ourselves. I love you. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for everybody that show in on a regular basis. Another successful week. It's February. Let's get to that bag. No fumble on a Friday. Also, let me give a shout out to Enos Luby. Enos Luby says, Natasha Vincent is the truth. She has helped with my business plan, and she made more time to help me. And she made time to help me out with my plan. We got some great people that's a part of the Patreon and the Bag Chasers. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna talk to y'all later. Thank you, Enos, and thank you to everybody that support the platform. I appreciate y'all. Peace.